G'day all, it's Colin from PC TLC and thanks for joining me. Just excuse my voice, I've been to a couple of parties this weekend, so too much talking. In this video we're going to be having a look at Devuan Beowulf 3 Minimal, how to install. This one's been quite a difficult one to work out, and I've managed to work it out, so I wanted to share it with everyone. We're also going to see if we can install using the command line, because that's what it is, it's a command line install, and see if we can keep under that 900 megabyte threshold. So it'd be interesting to see if we can do that. This one's based on Debian, so this should be interesting. We've had a command line Arch, I think 2 of them. Now we've got a Debian one. So Devuan, this is the website. I just have trouble finding my way around all the relevant information for install. I'm not sure how I came across this one, but all these links will be in the show notes. This one here is what led me to how to install it. I was reading this and I came to this bit here, installing on hard drive, and the most valuable thing that I found is, if I can find it, it's also possible to install this minimal live image on a hard disk by using the Refractor installer. So I managed to type this in, Refractor installer, and it ran. So I was pretty happy about that. And there was also information regarding network, and that's in here, setnet.sh. That's in the live. You've got to be root when you run it. I think it was from a root console, yep. Setnet.sh, and that gives you internet access. I struggled to find that on the website. Maybe I just wasn't looking in the right places. And we've got, this is the release archive, the Devuan Beowulf 3 Minimal Live. That's the one I've downloaded. And there's another link here. I think that was provided by eznix in one of the comments on one of the previous videos. And then we've also got some other things here, which is the minimal Xfce install, which I followed this, and also how to configure the network after install. That was driving me crazy as well. Could not get the network going after you reboot. So this is what I did. Where was it? This one here. So in the Etsy network interfaces file, I put all this in, rebooted, and I had network. So that worked out well. So hopefully I've done the install already, so I want to do it again. So we'll clear the disk off when we do that, and we'll have a good look at this install. That's if I remember correctly how to follow that through. I did the install of Xfce, and the funny thing was, after I installed all these packages, I still could not, I even installed Slim, which is the display manager to log in. And there was nothing there. It was just still a command line login, which I was very confused about. So apparently you need to install Xorg because it doesn't come along with any of these Xfce packages. So that's just my lack of knowledge on that one, I suppose. So that is Devuan. Let's check it out. And all these links will be provided. Feel free to go looking around the website of Devuan yourself if you wish. It is Devuan Beowulf 3 stable release, apparently. So all the others, I think the ones, let's have a look at this download before we do anything. So you've got desktop live, net install, server, the server 670 megabytes, desktop 4 gig, a minimal live 460. Now, if we have a look at mine here, Devuan and Beowulf is 481.3 megabytes. So slightly different reading there to what it says on the web page. And it does say here Refractor installer. Maybe that's where I got that from as well. I cannot remember. It's been a difficult one to work out, to be honest. The others are a little bit too big. Even the desktop live is 1.2 gig, so that's over our 900 megabytes. Net install, while you're downloading all this, The reason I went for this one here is it's slightly higher than the net install. However, you manually install everything yourself, so you get to see how much download it's going to be. That's the most critical part of this, because we need to know what we're downloading. And they've got some mirrors here, but the mirrors are all for, I think if we go to the mirrors, that's just for this one here. Torrents, it's 1.2 megabytes, but I'm not sure which Devuan that one is, to be honest. It just says torrent. So the one that I found was here, the link provided, and also this one here. So you've got an option here on the archives, the minimal live. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Cancel that. But if we go back, there's this one here. I think I supplied this one here, which takes you either to the desktop live, the installer-iso, or the minimal live. So you've got your links there to each respective one. And I went for the minimal live. That's a little bit of a look around the Devuan website. Let's have a look at the install. Check it out. Okay, so let's just quickly have a look at the finished product first. Let's do this a little bit backwards, just so I can prove to you all that I did it. And in case this install completely fails, I've got proof. Okay, so there's the login screen. My name, username and password. And there is the Devuan Xfce desktop. So currently we have probably not much in here, to be honest. It did come along with Midnight Commander. I didn't install that. Must have been by default, maybe. I did choose to install Ristretto. I think that was while I was installing the Xfce desktop. Yeah, I did. Somebody had instructions, so I just slapped that in there. So there's no Office, no multimedia, no internet at the moment. So it's just very bland desktop at the moment. That's all it's going to be. So hopefully I'll be wiping this one clean and starting a fresh install. So let's log out of there. Shut it down. So here we are in the live minimal. Now on one of those information pages that we had, let's just check that out. In here, it does tell you all about the boot options, several boot options, and it tells you here what the boot options mean. So that gives you an idea. I'm just going to use the standard, which is the top one there. Let's enter that. Press enter to see video modes or space to continue. Let's just hit the space button. While that's booting up, I'll just show you I've got my little cheat sheet here, that just a few things. I haven't written down the refractor installer. I should have done that. Haven't done that yet. These were the most important things I couldn't get going. So Devuan login, and the login was username is Devuan and password is Devuan. Okay, now we're in. Now if we need to be running as root, so the root is username, let's go SU, super user. The username is Devuan. Sorry, username, boy. SU, sorry, and password is TOOR, which is root backwards. And there we have root. Let's just clear the screen. So the first thing we're going to do is setnet.sh. That works straight off the bat in here. Okay, so the setnet.sh doesn't work. Maybe I didn't use that, I cannot remember. Maybe I just used the refractor installer and installed it and then added the internet after. I'm not quite sure now, I can't remember. So I'm going to run the installer and see how we go. So we'll type, let's just clear the screen. Refractor installer. And let's go through this. Choose Australia. Hit the tab key to highlight OK or cancel. Arrow down to Perth. Tab key again, OK. Then we'll page down to find English, EN, which is there, English, AU, UTF. Yep, so hit the space bar, then tab key and OK. And then check it again here, tab key to OK. In this case, I just go with the generic. I have no idea what other keyboards are what, so normally the default one for me works fine. Keyboard layout is English US. I just go for the default here. I don't change anything here as well. And I just go for default there as well. Okay. So boot method BIOS, grub version grub PC for BIOS boot. So we're booting legacy, which is BIOS. If this is not what you want, exit and examine the situation. Otherwise, 2 to continue. So number 2. So we've got 2 partitions there, as you can see. I'll use number 2 CF disk. And what I'll do is I'll just put these back to, if you were installing from scratch, then you probably might not have anything there. So we'll just delete these. Delete. And write that. Type yes. I could probably just redo new ones, but I just thought I'd write that first. So we'll go for new. And the size will be, I'll say 2, capital G, for swap partition. So enter that. It'll be a primary. We go to type. I'm going to call it Linux swap. And then we go down again and create another new one. I'm going to use the rest of the disk. So 18 gig is left. We'll leave it as that. It'll be a primary. And we'll leave it as default, which will be a Linux file system. So that's all we have to do. And then we'll write that. Are you sure? Yes. Just keeping in mind this deletes everything on your hard drive. And we shall quit. So we've done that. Oh, press 1 to return. I must have forgot to, I forgot to write it, did I? I must have forgot to write it. Let's do that again. Boy. Let's write that to disk. Yes. I don't know if I did that or not. Okay, now quit. Okay. Press 1 to, if you're happy with that, maybe that's SD1, SDA2, yep. Press 1 to return or enter. I think it was fine. I think I did write it. Where would you like the grub bootloader to be installed? Well, it's going to be on dev SDA. That's the main disk. SDA 1 and 2 are just partitions of SDA, so we want it on the front at the start of the disk. If you created a separate partition for boot, enter it here. No, we didn't, so skip this, just hit enter. Which partition would you like to use for the installation? It will be dev SDA 2, because that was the main partition. The SDA 1 was the swap. Choices, well, number 4 for ext4. Do you want it on an encrypted? Number 2 for no, I don't want encryption. If you created a separate partition for home, enter the full device name. If you're installing everything to one partition, you should leave this blank. Let's do that. Would you like the FS tab to use the UUID to identify file systems? Enter for yes, so I'll just press enter. Current host name is Devuan, so change it to Devuan-vbox, we'll call it. Let's do that. And this is your last chance to exit before any changes are made. Proceed with the installation. Number 1, yes. Proceed anyway because it was last mounted, yes. Okay, that install only takes a couple of minutes, and bearing in mind we are not connected to the internet at this point, so disable auto login. Yes, press enter for yes. Yep, the installed system is ready for chroot. If you want, you may work in another virtual terminal, make a selection when you're ready to proceed. So install bootloader and finish the installation number 2. So the current primary user's name is Devuan. If you want to change it, enter the new user's name now. To proceed without changing the name, just hit enter. So I'm going to call it Colin. Enter. Enter the user's real name. Colin Brash. Change the new user's password. Enter for yes. Retype the password. Number 1, I disable sudo on that. Change the root password. Enter for yes. Retype. Done. You may now reboot. Now I'm in root, but type in reboot doesn't do anything. Shutdown doesn't do anything either. I don't know why those, I would have thought that would do that, but I think there's a shutdown now. I think I found the other day, now that I remember. Shutdown now. I think it needs a couple of -r now or something like that. No. I'm just going to close it from the VirtualBox machine. Close it, power off. Easier for me. And let's boot up. So we'll log in, Colin and password. So that's us into our new system, and that's all it is. Not very exciting at all. So if I get my cheat sheet up here, which is what I did, hopefully this all goes to plan. I thought I'd already messed my plans up because I'm sure I used setnet.sh, but maybe I didn't. You do so many things, sometimes you just forget. So we definitely want internet, so I'm going to do this one first, sudo nano. Actually, we'll type su, super user, and the password for the root account. So Xfce etc network interfaces, enter that. And just arrow down to a new part, and I'll type it out what I need to. Okay, so I'll just check that I've typed that out correctly anyway. Allow-hotplug eth0 iface eth0 inet dhcp, and the same with the bottom one, allow-hotplug ens3 and iface ens3 inet dhcp. So for that we go Control O, enter to save, and Control X to exit. Now I need to shut down. Somebody needs to tell me what the best shutdown command is. Power off maybe? I don't know. Power off. Doesn't work. Reboot. I thought reboot always worked in these situations, but I don't know. I'll just close it. I don't do command line very often. That's the reason why I'm not familiar with those commands. Now you'll probably find it'll take a little while to set the network, which is doing it now. Now I don't know if that's a temporary way of fixing it, and there's a more permanent way. I'm not sure. You'd probably have to install some sort of network configuration, maybe some package. I'm not sure about that one. That may be just to get us out of trouble for now. I'm not sure. Somebody will know. I definitely don't. So we'll su into root. Now this is where that's just ping google.com. Make sure it's working. So we have internet working, so Control C. Cancel that. Clear the screen. Okay, so that's all good. Now the other problem I had is because I think we installed offline, we need to do this command here. Otherwise you're going to have all sorts of errors come up, which is what happened to me on my first install. So at least we know there was no internet when we installed it, so we haven't really used any extra besides what the ISO was in size, which was 481 megabytes, so that's pretty handy. So apt, I don't know if we need to use apt-get. Everything still says apt-get for Debian. apt-get update -- space -- allow -- release info -change. Let's do that, enter that. Hopefully all goes well. Now if somebody knows, maybe eznix might know this allow release info change. I'm not sure what that's all about, but I have to assume that maybe something's changed from Jesse to Buster or something, because there's a lot of Debian Jesse references for this Devuan. So I'm not sure if that's anything to do with it. So that's all done. So now we can just apt update. Let's just do apt, see if that works. So all's good. 73 packages can be upgraded. So maybe we should do that first, because I didn't do that on my first install. So apt upgrade, yes. So the grub's going to be modified or upgraded. So it wants me to select the device you'd like grub installed, which will be the SDA. So hit the space bar, the tab key to continue. That is the upgrade complete. Let's clear the screen. Now what I'm going to do here is installing Xfce, and I need to do xorg first. Apt install xorg. Let's do that first. Then we're going to install the Xfce packages. They've got this cinnabar icon theme or something. Power Manager. If you're on a laptop, you would install that. Otherwise, in a VBox or on a desktop, you wouldn't bother with that one. I'm not going to bother with this icon theme thing either. We're going to install also Slim Display Manager for login purposes. I think that's correct. And we need to update the alternative. So that's what we're going to do. So xorg is installed. Let's clear the screen. Okay, so that's all the Xfce stuff there. Xfce for panel, xf desktop 4, xfwm 4, xfce 4 -settings, -session, terminal, app finder. I don't know if I need app finder in there. It might be for something, I'm not sure. And also thunar. I didn't install the Xfce 4 -power -manager or the cinnabar -icon -theme. Don't really need that. It's other icons to use. And I didn't install Ristretto. We'll do the applications later. So let's enter that. Now, let's have a look at what we've got here. So according to this, we need to get 52.8 megabytes of archives. So that sounds like it's not a big deal to download all those. So we're 481 in size, so we're going up to 530 something, almost 540, so still well within, so let's go yes. So that's all that installed for Xfce. Let's clear the screen once again. And let's install Slim, apt install Slim. Need to get 291 kilobytes of archives, and 622 kilobytes of additional disk space will be used. That's absolutely nothing at all, really, that. And then we need to update the alternatives for that. So that to use Slim, so we're going to go update alternatives space -- config space x session manager. Let's do that. I just left it, I'm just going to press enter to keep the current choice, which is 0 user bin start Xfce 4 auto mode. That sounded good to me, so that's what we're going to do, and we've done that. Let's clear the screen, and I believe we are ready to go. The only thing we haven't done is we haven't installed any packages. So I'm going to shut this machine down. Let's boot it back up. And here we are at the login screen. Type your username and then your password. Use a default config. That'll do for now. Now we need to do the display. That may not work, which it doesn't. So for some reason it doesn't work until you run xrandr. So that's probably because it's got minimal packages, maybe, I'm not sure. So the command for that is xrandr space -- output space vga-1, which is normally your default for one screen, space -- mode space, and the display size that you want. Let's enter that, and there we go. Now you'll probably find now that the display will open up, which it does. So it didn't before I run xrandr. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But there we go. We have this installed, Xfce under Devuan installed for under 540 megabytes, and we've still got about 360 megabytes to play with to install packages. So I'd have to think, if you're going to install under there, we could probably install Synaptic. That just means another install. I don't think we would have a Synaptic package manager in here, I don't think. Where would that be? System? Yeah, there's definitely no Synaptic. No, we don't have Synaptic. So we could use the terminal. Installing packages is probably very subjective because you don't know what the person's going to be using as far as packages are concerned. All I know is we could probably install a few that would be the most common things to get going. So I've just done an apt search for Firefox to see which one we need to install. Looks like we need to install Firefox-ESR 78.5. Extended support release. I know that they normally run extended support release on Debian-based systems. So we've got image viewer, Office Suite, Internet, audio and video player as in celluloid, gedit for documents, GwenView. We probably need a document reader as well, isn't it? So we've got Firefox, ESR, LibreOffice for Office Suite, image viewer, document viewer, gedit for text documents, celluloid for video and music. Could probably put quadlibet in that too, I think. And we'll put quadlibet in as a small music player. Let's check that out. SU first and then password. And let's paste that. So I couldn't find a celluloid, so we'll change that to VLC. It's probably a better choice, probably. At least we know where to find that. I don't know what happened there. The screen just went a bit crazy on me there. It must have been because it was full screen. I don't know. It's not. It's doing funny things in full screen. So let's have a look what we've got here. So we need 477 megabytes. So we are over, aren't we? Depending what the user wanted to put in, you could probably slim that down. I think we had about 360 something to play with, I believe. But I'm not going to install that because that's only what I believe you would install. But I think the main thing there would be LibreOffice would be the biggest. That's probably 300 and something megabytes, I would think. Yeah, there's your problem there. 296 megabytes for LibreOffice. So if there's another alternative for a smaller office, which there is, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. There's a couple of smaller ones, depending how much you are dependent upon Office suites, if at all. So yeah, there's your biggest problem there. Otherwise, everything else is pretty slim. So you could get away with using Devuan. And I mean, if 900 megabytes, I suppose the other thing we haven't considered is 900 megabytes, is that every month? Because if you've got 900 megabytes to play with in the following month, maybe, I don't know, then it's quite possible he could install some other stuff later. I'm not quite sure how that works for the user in this scenario. And just before we do go and finish this video off, I thought I'd just look up an alternative Office suite. There is Calligra Office Suite, Calligra Suite, which comes with a word processor, spreadsheet, presentation, flowchart designer, painting software, etc. So I might just check out how much that is to install. I know it's Qt based, but I'm just curious now. So there's an interesting scenario. So Calligra Office, apt install Calligra. Need to get 111 megabytes of archives. So that one could work quite well because that's quite low. So that's another option for that. So it's a week later since I've done this video and voice is much better. I'm still going with this Devuan Beowulf. This one has been very challenging to say the least. I want to have a quick look at htop. I didn't install it, so it must come with Xfce possibly. So let's just check that out. 199 megabytes. Now quite clearly you could see with some of the red text I'd put up during the video that there was some installs that I'd missed on the upgrade. For example, I think there was xorg and something else. And it ends up being around about 1,040 something megabytes. So we are over. This is my second go at finishing off the video, because the first go was pretty much me talking about how we are within even installing Calligra, but that's not the case. So what I might do is just install the packages anyway, have a quick look at them, and then we'll finish off the video. So I've installed the packages. Let's have a quick look. Document Viewer 3.3, Gwenview 18.04, Internet Firefox Extended Support Release 78.5, Multimedia Quadlibet 4.2.1, VLC 3.0.11, Office Calligra Sheets. So about Calligra Sheets 3.1. This is new. I haven't sort of really seen this before. Use this template. So that's Calligra Sheets, different. And we've also got Calligra Stage. That looks like some sort of, it's interesting. 3.1, yep, so it's all 3.1. And Calligra Words, I think it is. Calligra Words, blank document. That's your blank document there by the looks of it. Maybe you have to set that up. I'm not quite sure how that works. Very different to what I'm used to. I think one more I installed under accessories is probably gedit, text editor. And about gedit 3.3.2. And that's pretty much it really. Let's just have one more look at htop. Running a little bit higher since we've been opening some documents and some applications and so forth. 222. It's gone up by 23 megabytes, roughly that, but still very acceptable. So just summing up this video, pretty much this video has turned into a how to install Devuan and have a bit of a look around. That's what it's become really, because I thought we were doing okay there at some point. Boy, are we fighting for megabytes here when it comes to 900 megabytes. So I thought this was going to be a good chance to do a command line install and install your own packages for under 900 megabytes, but it looks like it's a little bit impossible when it comes to the command line. So I'm just blown away at how some of these other distros can actually fit so much stuff into a small ISO. So it must be in the way they package it, maybe, and how they shrink it, how they zip it up and all that sort of stuff. I'm not that technically inclined to know how all that stuff's done, but, you know, hats off to them. They do a pretty good job to that. Yeah, so it's around about 1,043 megabytes, I think I worked it out to be. And, you know, sometimes when you do an update and all that, you're still using data as well. So, and yeah, the root account, now that I'm actually filming after like a week or so, I can tell you now that, yes, I've taken down notes about the root account. This one I had already done, and I did disable sudo. Some people actually, when you watch some other people's videos, they actually do like to use the su command and run as root. I don't know what, I'm confused with Debian, to be honest. What is the best way to run it? Somebody said in a comment that Debian suggests, I think they said, suggests or something like that, that you do run with sudo. So maybe because sudo, when you're running as root under sudo, I think it does time out after a certain amount of time. So anyway, my excitement fell pretty quickly. And the reason for this video is because I actually, because my eyesight's and my glasses, depending which glasses I'm wearing, I sometimes don't see these things when I'm editing because I'm busy doing the editing stuff. But it's not until I render it, and I've already rendered one video and I'm not uploading that because it's got a different outro. But when I've rendered it and I watch it back and it's in 1080p, I pick up all these things and I always watch my whole videos through. And that's how I pick these things up. And I'm a little bit, what can you say, a bit fussy about what I upload. I would like to make sure that, I'm reasonably accurate. It can't be 100% accurate, but, it's not until I watched it back that I realized, I didn't upgrade there, and that accounted for 160 megabytes and so forth. But this one has really challenged me big time because I did do a recording of the website, of the install. The install failed, and I tried it several times. So I spent a few hours on that, and then after I did a lot of other recordings, yes, I'd made it up to my Debian video, and then I decided to record this one again because I thought maybe this one has a chance if I can work it out. But I've spent a lot of time on this video, hence probably the length of time on it as well. But yes, it's become a bit of a look around, an install look around. Hope a lot of people enjoyed the install anyway. And that's it for Debian Beowulf 3 pretty much. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it interesting and informative. And thanks for watching.